Okay, well, welcome everybody this morning. This is Chris Bruce with Barb Satterwhite, and we're going to be talking a little bit about using tools in this kind of new situation that we're in, that we're sort of getting used to, I guess, Barb, as we've been in it a few months now, and everybody's had to make adjustments in how they do everything, whether it's shopping, schooling, jobs from home, travel, everything is different. But we still have a mission with Nikken to share these products and to help people gain and maintain the health that they want, and to provide an opportunity for freedom and just a better life for people. So Barb, we talked a little bit last night about how we're kind of changing our techniques and still using the tools that we have. I guess what's the biggest change that you've made in how you reach out to people and how you share with Nikken now?
Well, I think the fun part about all this is, I call it a blessing in disguise. The fact that we were, quote, isolated, still are somewhat. I don't like using the word forced, but basically forced us into getting more on virtual meetings and those sorts of things. And even though we've been doing Zooms for quite a while, but we've replaced doing in-home demonstrations with Zoom meetings. And so what that's done is made people comfortable with that, number one, because it really is a nice, easy way to reach a lot of people and people from their home. So that's what we've done, and really have had a lot of fun doing it. For instance, you may be aware that we do every Friday night a hydration happy hour, and we go from 5 to 6 different homes, demonstrating the products and having a lot of fun. Then on Tuesdays at 2 o'clock every Tuesday, we do what we call a healthy home tour. And again, we involve at least 5 or 6 different homes. And the challenge here is people having 3 to 4 minutes, okay? You try and get any one of us to speak for 3 and 4 minutes, and that's a challenge. So, but it forces people to be succinct, but just bring out the benefits. You don't have to bore people with the details of everything we know, which is kind of what we tend to do. So it's been not only fun, it's been effective. So people can jump on from their home. And the fun part about that is that, we have a lot of tools that we still use. For instance, I still love the little catalogs, even though they don't have the latest products. But, and I still meet people with their neighbors or connections at our cottage, and people like to have that. So I still like having that catalog. And the cards. Oh my gosh, the water cards and the energy cards. Because even though you meet somebody online or whatever, you can even show them that card, or you can email that to them or mail it to them. So it's a mixture, but I like, and I have to say, doing online virtual in-homes basically has been fun. It's been easier. You don't have to lug all your products. You don't have to take the time, and you can do it in 40 minutes versus 2 hours. So that's kind of where we're coming from. And it's been really, really, I have to say, think about this. Before, we weren't doing 2 events a week. People would do their one-on-ones, and maybe you'd have 1 in-home a week. Well, you've now scheduled and look forward to doing 2 events every week, minimally, that you're funneling people into. So that's kind of where we are right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the idea of creating like the virtual tours that you're doing, where people get to see how Nikken integrates into their life. We used to do the big wellness home tours. Whoever had the biggest house in town, we'd go and just take everybody through, and they'd lay on the bed and those kinds of things. But we can still do a lot of that through the virtual tours and tours. Yeah. And then, the cards, like you said, I don't know, I just mainly see Barb, but it's easy to get some interest just with a little visual. There's demos that I've had to change how I do them One of my favorite ones is with the Self-Care Awakening magazine for coffee shops, and just going to the back page and having people circle a few of these symptoms or conditions that are on the back, and just talking about, what would happen if you went to your doctor and you had 5 of these. What would happen? And all of them are dehydration. And so just being able to change the in-person thing to a virtual thing really is good. Another thing that we talked about a little bit is being creative in coming up with ways to draw interest. And like, I have a sister-in-law, one of the things that she did is she started yoga, and she wasn't a yoga practitioner, but she would video herself trying a new pose and seeing how long she could hold it. And then she would ask people to guess how much longer she could hold it if she put her mag steps in. And then she would video herself, and then that would be the reveal the next day to see the change. And so she just got people to watch her do yoga with and without magnets. I'm going to be doing things on Monday. Drew Manning is a fairly famous personal trainer, and not quite 10 years ago, kind of to gain empathy and to demonstrate that the techniques he was teaching really worked, he took 100 of his clients and averaged out what they did as far as exercise and food on a weekly basis, and he matched it for 6 months, and he gained 70 pounds. So he didn't go to the gym, just all of these things, and just completely turned into a different person. And then in 6 months, he went back to exactly how he was beforehand, so that he could not only demonstrate that what he was doing works, but that he could have empathy with how people feel. And so I'm not going to do 6 months of stuffing my face, but
you've already done that. No, I couldn't resist.
we're a little closed in. And so what I have done over the last 5 weeks is I stopped taking my KVB. I took the insoles out of my shoes and have gone off a lot of my nutritionals. And I've logged how much weight I've gained and kind of how I feel on a given day. My fingers are stiff again. I had arthritis starting as a teenager. Haven't been taking my joint. My fingers are stiff. My feet hurt. And I've gone from a 32-inch waist to a 36-inch waist in my pants in 5 weeks. And so I'm going to go back on Monday and do Facebook Lives every week with my progress, going back onto the Nikken products and sharing recipes and things like that. And hopefully that will gain a little interest, and people will want to see if I can wear my good pants again. But anything that you can do where you can gain interest on social media, whether it be through the health tip of the day, or like classes like the Lindners are teaching, where you can teach and share information with your contacts and just people that you meet and the people that they meet on social media. If you can make it interesting, make it short, like you say, 3 or 4 minutes, so you're not boring people, you really can gain a lot of traction, because just looking at the numbers, people are spending way more time looking for something to watch on YouTube or something to read about on Twitter that might not be quite so negative. So just some good news or anything like that would be great.
I'm impressed that, number one, you would do all that just to show somebody. I'm not sure I could do that, but that's really creative, and obviously it's going to be very effective. I think
Donated his body to science.
There we go.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Well,
Yeah.
And the other thing that we've done, and it was Heather Abbott's idea, Ladies Leading Ladies, which is a kind of a group that we've gotten together and done a lot. Well, she gave us a challenge, and I was actually at our cottage that week. The challenge was, for 5 days, do a different product video in 15 seconds. And remember, I told you it's hard to get us to talk for 3 minutes, let alone 15 seconds. So I did it every day, and it was so fun. Some of them were 18 seconds, maybe 17 seconds, but you try and do a product demo or a video in 15 seconds, but it was fun. And in fact, the ones that were the most effective were, I just did it. I didn't practice it, I just did it. And so I've saved all those on my YouTube channel so I can throw them out there whenever I need to. But it made, and again, what this has done is it's taken that, and I never really had fear, I just never did it, but it's taken that what I want. People think they can't do a video or they can't do this or that. But you know what? When you're natural and you just throw it out there, it's so fun. Oh, I stopped saying it. It's fun. I had to, somebody corrected me about my grammar on that. I'm always saying that. But, you know, and this is the other piece that's so important. And we've said this for years. You got to have fun doing what you're doing. Because when it stops being fun, you're not going to do it and you're not going to attract people. Okay, so when you're in a happy mode and you're having a good time, and I have to tell you, my team that we call ourselves the A team that do the virtual hydration happy hour and home tour, that first night when we decided to do this, we were on our team call, which is every Sunday night, and I suggested that now that we're all stuck in, why don't we do something online that we can just do together? And we came up with water because it was in March. And remember, we had all those water product specials. We spent, you know how you have 40 minutes free on Zoom? We got back on Zoom 3 times. I think we were like over 3 hours. We were having so much fun just figuring out what we were going to do with water, and really got excited about it. And they said, okay, we're going to set a time to do a practice run on this. And when we did that first practice run, it was disaster. I mean, you know, all of us that know these products and whatnot, but we couldn't get our stuff together. We were just, but we had fun sharing. Okay, no, wait a minute, put this there and do this, because we want to do demonstrations. And so come the first night, okay, the first Friday night hydration happy hour, we do it at 7:30. At 6:30, we do another little practice run. We pulled that one off at 7:30 that first night. So smooth. It really, really went well. And so we started doing them. And so my point in telling you all this is, and then we decided after about 4 or 6 weeks of doing water, let's do a home health tour, a wellness home tour. And we can go to different homes and you demonstrate. I start with sleep in the bedroom and somebody else does energy in the office. Somebody does what they dress for the day. And so again, we had fun planning it. We have fun doing it. And think about this. It's energized us. Okay. So the benefits are you've got a team of people that are energized to do it. We don't not want to do it. And somebody said, oh, well, should we change it up? Well, think about this. And I always think of Dennis Williams. Remember how he used to say he does the same presentation over and over and over again. Number one, because it's duplicatable, but number two, and you know, if you're bored, it's not about you. It's new people that you're trying to reach here. So
Right.
the goal is to get new people on it. So you would think we would be tired of even doing it. But again, we have the fun doing it. And so it's a fun factor. It's scheduled twice a week. We do them. And so the infrastructure's there. I always think of Dave Stolz's when I think of this, you know, the infrastructure, and set it up so that it's just automatic. People can plug in. So that's how I look at this, is the benefits of all of that, is that you're doing something routinely. You've got people you can pull into it. And then someone said, well, so what are your results? Are you having any results with this? Or, because I was talking to some people that want to start something, and I said, you know, you're stewing too much over this and stressing over it. Just do it. I mean, it's really, that's the piece that I come from, is don't make it a stressor. So they said, well, but what are your outcomes, or what are you doing with it? My question would be to you is, so what's your outcome with what you're doing right now?
Exactly.
But I mean, seriously, if you're afraid of this and the outcomes, well, whatever you're doing now, is it effective? Probably not. So, but we have had good outcomes. For instance, I've had 2 guests on there. They were customers, but they're not ingrained in Nikken. They've just, one got a water pack, another one got a waterfall. And then Sandra Thornton, who they do their demonstrations, she had somebody from California she had never met through a Zoom meeting with her church, bought the water pack. We've had brand new consultant in her line that got on and brought on another consultant. He jumped on the next week and brought on a guest. Last night, we had a consultant from California who had a guest on. So we're getting more activity that way
Mhm.
than we were with what we were doing.
Yeah, exactly. And I like that you've brought in all of these different people that are co-hosting, I guess, they're part of it. Because one of the biggest things that a business like this requires you to do is to either join or create a club that people want to join. And so you either have to be the fun person at the party or find a bunch of fun people that would be at a party and then just show people, this really is fun to do. It's something that you and anybody else can do if you choose to. And like you said, that fun factor is huge because most people are coming to this kind of thing because they have an issue with what they're doing right now. I have a brother that I've been trying to get out of Seattle for years. He has a job that he hates. But if I can just find the right piece to show him that he can do something other than the job he hates, we could completely change his life. And we've done that for hundreds of people personally and thousands of people indirectly over the years, just doing the same thing. Doing the demos, throwing the parties, introducing them to interesting people, and it changes lives just
Hey,
dramatically.
tell them about the tape that you put on Trevor.
Oh,
You just saw him.
yeah.
So that's
So-
planting a seed.
Sure. So my brother was a bodybuilder years ago. He works in loss prevention for a large grocery chain. So he sets up the cameras and all of the computer systems, does all the auditing. But he used to be the guy that had to chase the shoplifters out of the store. And often they work in teams. And so the two guys carrying the TV had a third person with a truck and they hit him with the truck. And so he had to have surgery on both legs and his ankle. And so he went from a bodybuilder to a very sedentary person. So he's gained a lot of weight and he's got a lot of issues. And he came to visit us. And while we were out and about with a friend of his, he fell, landed on his elbow, and it shocked up into his shoulder and just hurt a lot. And just a couple of pieces of tape across his shoulder, and it went away. And he's told us that 10 years ago he hurt that shoulder lifting weights, and it's always bothered him, and this new thing, it just aggravated it. And we've shared things with him, but until you can get people to get in the right position, and it may be a demo, it may be a video, it may be somebody, a third party, because it's my brother and he knows me from when I was 12 and stupid, so he needs another opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
So all of those things, bringing the collective together so that we're all helping each other, really makes it work.
Well, it's funny. Reason I was a little bit late was our Rotary decided to have a breakfast this morning. There's nothing open. So they had it in a park. And you just brought your lawn chair and your coffee and you sat there and we talked and talked and talked. And turns out I'm sitting talking to one of the guys and he just had surgery on his hand.
Mm.
And I just said, well, before we leave, when I go to the car, I mentioned the duct tape. And so we're walking to the car and I forgot about it. And he says, oh, okay, here. So I take it out, give him a couple of pieces to put on there and give him some strips to use. Again, I mean, had I not made the effort to go out and meet at the park, which I love doing, and you mentioned the shoulder, oh my gosh, this is a great story. This was 2 weeks ago. I was down at a cottage and had a new floor put in. I mean, you're talking a cottage we've had for 29 years. The original linoleum was 1978.
Mm.
So it's an old vintage. And I was like, so glad to finally get a new floor. Well, the neighbor that has his own contracting business helped with his sons. And he was laying on the floor, pulling out the dishwasher and reconnecting that. And when we had everything done and I was going over everything, his shoulder was killing him. I mean, killing him. He'd gotten pain meds. He was miserable. And I said, okay, you got to play with me. So I took a power chip and put on the front with some duct tape, put it on the back and put it across the shoulder where it was hurting. This was on Sunday. I leave on Monday. I text him on Tuesday. I said, how's the shoulder? He says, 99% better. I mean, prior to that, the day before I did any of that, major discomfort, pain pills, just miserable. And I was feeling bad because he did it on my job and he's a contractor. So Tuesday, 99% better. Wednesday, 100% better. I said, I texted back, now wasn't that better than cortisone shots? I mean, he's just blown away with it. So my point is, no matter what you're doing, okay, laying a floor, going to a Rotary breakfast, you know, connecting on the internet, you've got people out there that need us.
Absolutely.
That's how easy it is.
Yeah. It's just that easy, right, Dave?
Let's do it.
Okay.
And we got the sizzle call, and that's record numbers. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, that's every day. So,
Yeah, we've just about doubled the number of people who are on the sizzle calls daily
Really?
during quarantine. So people are getting guests on, and those guests are buying products. So get people on the sizzle calls. You never know what it's going to be. We do give you a little advanced warning, but you never know which story is going to touch somebody. So just get them on a bunch.
Yep. Thanks for setting that up, by the way.
thanks for being a host, Janet.
Well, you know, I love a 10-minute thing because that's the whole point. And that's what I'm telling you, when we do our tours, it's like cut to the chase. Don't spend 5-10 minutes talking about stuff. Just do, you know, when we're doing this tour thing. And I like about the sizzle call, it's 10 minutes, 5 minutes for you, 5 minutes for the guest, and people can listen to that. So I think brevity is the key.
Mm-hmm. Have more conversations. Let's do it. Hey,
Yeah.
thanks everybody.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Barb.
Enjoyed.
Awesome.